Rebecca Wolf,
Here.
Rebecca Bora, Nick Zakos,
Here.
Commissioner Zakos, I'm sorry, and Commissioner Bennett. Did I miss somebody?
We still need one more tenant commissioner.
Yeah, because
the election
there's no
in
tenant.
November.
Right, okay, so we do have a quorum.
Mhm.
Okay. First up on the agenda is the representative for HC.
I didn't know where we were on the agenda, so I was telling him to log on when we were ready for him.
Oh, maybe he's on, what's his name?
Lex.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think.
No, Alex Lunt, no, right?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll just, if he comes in, just let me know.
We'll change the order. Mhm.
All right. Next, we'll go to public comment. Does anybody have any public comment? And is everybody signed in? No public comments this evening? Okay, we'll move forward. The first thing on the agenda under old business is our approval of the meeting minutes from September 2022. Can we get a motion to
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
first by Commissioner Smith, and second by Commissioner Wolf? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
I
Opposed, have the same right. The motion is carried. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of accounts payable for September 2022. I have a motion. Do you have a question?
I was gonna make that motion. I
Okay,
was
go
getting
ahead.
ahead of myself.
No, you're fine, actually. Go ahead.
Motion?
Yes. Any second?
I'll second it.
First, Commissioner Zakos, second Commissioner Wolf. All those in favor say aye.
I
Any opposed have the same right. That motion is carried. And we will move through to our resolutions. We have two resolutions this evening. The first motion before the board is
resolution.
resolution number 529. And it reads, whereas the Hudson Housing Authority Board of Commissioners has previously reviewed the conditions of Bliss Towers, whereas the Hudson Housing Authority is aware that Bliss Towers has outlived its useful life and that requires replacement of its major systems, whereas the Hudson Housing Authority has been informed that it's financially infeasible to perform the work necessary to extend the useful life of Bliss Towers. Whereas the Hudson Housing Authority has directed staff to develop a strategy to locate and develop replacement housing for the residents of Bliss Towers. Whereas the Hudson Housing Authority intends to seek a development partner to plan and finance the development of replacement housing. Whereas the Hudson Housing Authority staff have worked closely with the city of Hudson to identify properties that may be suitable for development. Whereas the Hudson Housing Authority the Hudson Community Development and Planning Agency, HCDPA, has agreed to enter into an option agreement with the Hudson Housing Authority, which provides the authority with the exclusive option to purchase several properties in the city of Hudson for development of replacement housing. Whereas Hudson Housing Authority staff and council and HCDPA have negotiated an option agreement that will facilitate the development of replacement housing in a way that will provide options to residents of Bliss Tower and facilitate the creation of new affordable housing in the city of Hudson. Are there any questions on the option? And just so you're aware, if you do, council is on a line.
Hey, Brian.
Ravando.
I don't have a question, but I want to pause to just, some of the residents look like they don't understand what's happening. So I just want to talk about the meeting that we went to and where we are
Okay.
with everything. Did everything that was said make sense? Do you understand where the conversation is going or not really? Okay, so HCDPA is a city agency that oversees properties. It's the Hudson City Development, right?
Hudson Community
Hudson
Development.
Community Development and Planning.
And planning
And they
agency.
have access to properties, and their goal is to make sure that people in Hudson are able to stay in Hudson and that the properties remain fairly priced. So because we all know that we have to redevelop the housing authority because of how everything is right now, how the condition of the property itself, in order to make this site better, right? People have to move from this site. So we have gone into a partnership, or we're about to go into a partnership with this organization that has land available so that we can build replacement housing before we start this project. So that people don't lose their homes, so nobody is displaced, so that we have somewhere safe and secure to provide people while we're in the development process. So just to alleviate any concerns around displacement or that there won't be enough housing for people as we're doing this new project, I just want to make sure that that was understood by you guys
And this
before we
is,
go forward.
and this is just a, again, a step in the process. It is a lengthy process, although we do hope that it moves rather quickly. But there will be constant, we will constantly inform the residents and have information sessions and meetings so that you can understand what's happening at each step of the process.
So is it gonna be like the Hudson Terrace, when they kind of redid the Hudson Terrace, where you have to pack your own stuff and then like, you guys, or they have moving company? Move your
We didn't
stuff?
get that
Right,
far,
we're
but
not
they're
that far.
private. They're a private organization. So the whole process was different for them because they don't have to abide by the federal rules around this part of the development. So all of that will be explained as we go forward, but I wouldn't compare any of this to the terrace because they're privately owned. So they have different things that they don't necessarily have to provide those amenities. You know what I mean? So we can have that conversation as we get closer,
Right,
but
and I just-
folks would be taken care of.
And I just want to reiterate what Commissioner Cousins is stating, because that is extremely important. HUD mandates that we do certain things, that we make sure that we have tenant information sessions, that we, you have to sign in, make sure you're well informed. You'll have certain rights that you have to be made aware of, as well as, whatever amenities or options we can offer you, you have to be fully aware of all those things.
Mhm.
So that is mandated by HUD, but we're not at that point yet. We're just in the beginning phase to try to get there, because we're gonna get there.
I have a question. What's this meeting about?
It's a monthly meeting.
Huh?
It's the monthly meeting, the regular monthly meeting.
Are there any? Yes, sir. Commissioner Zakos, you have a question?
The list of properties at the end, looks like an addendum or exhibit
Mhm.
A.
Can everybody hear Mr. Zakos?
The bottom on my printout is a little bit dark, and it seems like they're broken into 2
Three
or
parcels,
3
three parcels.
sections here.
3 parcels, yeah.
Mhm.
What are the, are all, this option is for all of the properties listed here, no matter what color they're highlighted with?
Oh, no. Okay,
No?
hold on one second. I know what you mean. One moment, please, and I apologize for that. But copying mine may be a little better. Give me a moment. What page is that?
They
just
aren't
to-
numbered.
18,
While we're-
In the
oh.
page before that, list the properties.
that's the
Mhm.
list. The list is
Yeah.
what I'm looking at, yep.
Uh-huh.
That's the list, and here, my pictures are a little bit better.
No, what he wants to
I'm not
know
looking
is
at the
the whole
picture.
list. Is that all the properties?
Oh, yes, that's all the
Yes,
properties,
that's
and
all
they're
the properties.
highlighted on there, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Got you.
Yes, that is all the properties.
Mhm.
Were there any properties that were left out of the option that
238 was left out,
238?
Columbia,
Okay,
and they said because they felt like it wasn't suitable
for development.
for development, so they
Gotcha.
left that out.
That was my question.
That's that
That
little.
wasn't-
That's that little lot up there. Mhm.
Adjacent to the Habitat for Humanity
Yes.
properties. Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Mr. Lawler?
Only in response to Nick, that the properties are grouped because of some of them are contiguous. They're next to each other. They're basically grouped by location, I believe.
Yep.
So there's no distinction. The option is for any or all of these particular properties.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I just wanted to add about HCDPA that Chairwoman Smith and Director Dodson are part of the HCDPA group. So like the group is formed, the Hudson Community Development Planning Agency is formed out of people who are in various positions in city roles, like including HHA. So that's, just wanted to make sure.
I just want to make a correction. I'm not a part of the HDCP. I'm a part of the
He's
Housing
there
Trust
though.
Fund.
He support,
Yeah, I
he's
do.
he's
I do.
there and supports, but
Yeah.
he's on
Of
HCF.
course,
Right,
right.
I'm
It's just
Sorry.
it's just a chair.
Yeah.
It's just a-
Sorry.
he's still
not.
he's still part of it though. He's still part of it. But
Just don't want it to be clear, because I don't want it to be any conflict. So,
Sorry.
No worries, no worries. No worries.
But yes, HCDPA, I started when I became the chair of this board, and I went in with a bang, and I made sure I was collecting all those properties like Swiper off Fedora, and I made sure I got it done. And I could not be any happier to be the Hudson Housing Authority chair. And as I always said, the work will get done regardless.
Woot, woot.
To that point, let's get to this, and then we can have something to say. We'll get to this part. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the executive director to execute this attached option agreement with HCDPA. We have a motion to move to vote on the option.
Oh, you can't. I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
First by Commissioner Cousins, second by Commissioner Zakos, and this will be a roll call vote, okay? Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Cousins.
Aye.
Commissioner Wolf,
Aye.
Commissioner Boer is absent. Commissioner Zakos,
Aye.
Commissioner Bennett is absent. The motion passes.
Outstanding.
This is so exciting.
This is so exciting.
Yes, ma'am.
It's crazy.
This doesn't commit you to making any particular purchase right now. It just gives you, gives you the option. It just says, this is what we're entitled to, and this is what the HEDPA is entitled to. And it just
Exactly.
lays it out, and so that everybody's straight up.
Right.
And
so-
in this housing market, like we're in an affordable housing crisis, right? So when you think about developing, you think about finding a new place to live, there is no land available. But we have land available because the HCDPA is allowing us exclusive access to these properties, which adds to this property that Bliss is on, that Columbia Apartments is on, and now scattered throughout the community, there will be more housing authority properties.
That's correct. I just want to say this is exciting, and this is one of the reasons that I was, I don't, and I can't even say my arm was twisted, but this was one of the big reasons that, I chose to come to Hudson, because of the progress that, we want to make here in the task ahead of us. So this is an exciting step. I'd like to thank Commissioner Smith, because she's been extremely instrumental in doing that. And all the commissioners, because you obviously have supported it. And our attorney, Brian Waller, who's, gone back and forth with HCDPA to make sure that we have a solid agreement. And, we hope and that it'll be good going forward. So again, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
kudos to you, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry for interrupting.
That's okay. This is an extraordinary event, so I'll make an,
Does the agreement have any time limit?
So
Attorney Lawler?
happy to jump in. So this is a 1-year exclusive option with the right to renew it for 2 additional 1-year terms. The cost of the option is basically, that was negotiated with HCDPA as well. For the first year, it's 25,000. That's what they estimated their carrying costs were for the property to maintain it, insure it, et cetera. That if a portion of that will be applied to the purchase price, depending upon when we purchase the property. But it's all told a 3-year agreement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
So it's like 20, you have, no, regardless of whether you buy something or not, you have to pay 25,000 this year. Is that-
Yes.
Correct.
And each year, the price, the carrying price is determined. Each year,
Same.
it's-
It's the same all 3 years.
It would be the
Yep.
same.
so it's 25,000 a year.
Which then can be applied towards the purchase.
Purchase.
Yes.
Okay. With that, we'll move on to the next resolution. This resolution is resolution number 530. Whereas the Hudson Housing Authority Board of Commissioners adopted resolution number 530 on October 17, 2022, adopting the 2022-2023 fiscal year operating budget for July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. And whereas the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners have been presented the operating budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, and it is necessary to support the mission of the authority and its financial obligations for the upcoming year. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the Hudson Housing Authority have received the operating budget, see attached, and now therefore be resolved that the Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the 2022 and 2023 operating budget for July 1st, 2022 through 2023. Are there any questions or discussion?
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I know that we've been out without our part-time clerks in the last budget, and we're going into a new budget with 2 part-time clerks. But I know when I spoke with you, you were uncertain if you wanted 2 people or not, but I see we're still adding that in the budget.
It is budgeted for, and that is strategic as well. I made a complete decision, but that, if I want to get a part-time person, that spot is available, or I can combine that cost and hire a full-time person.
Okay. And this made me think about when we're not using the budget to pay the clerks, like they weren't here for quite a while. I was just wondering, where does that money fall into the line, like money that isn't used to pay them when they're gone? Where does that money?
Well, it's not expended, so it's not assigned. It's available if we need it, but it's not expended.
So it just
So
like
ultimately, it should be well, not necessarily in our reserves, but it'll be in our bottom line.
it would be in our bottom line.
Right.
Okay. That was my only questions.
No problem. Any other questions? May I have a motion to vote? A motion to vote on the resolution number 530.
I'll make that motion.
And
Commissioner Cousins makes the motion and Commissioner Wolf seconds. And this will be a roll call vote. Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Cousins.
Aye.
Commissioner Wolf.
Aye.
Commissioner Boer is absent. Commissioner Zakos.
Aye.
Commissioner Bennett is absent. And the motion carries. Thank you for that. Continue working. At this point, we will go to the portion of the executive director report. Right before that, still no,
He's not on.
no, I'm asking.
Oh, he said he was. If not, I can just talk about it.
Okay, well, and let me just make this recommendation as well. Because that is for to help establish a tenant association. I highly recommend that if he's able to come to our tenant meeting, because it's a different atmosphere and it'll be where the residents
Yeah.
can really ask questions and really engage. So I think that'd be the best place for it, okay? So my report for this month, we have the election upcoming for our tenant commissioners. We received 2 completed petitions from 2 residents, Commissioner Anthony Bennett, the current commissioner, and Mary Decker. And the tenant election will be held on November 10th, 2022. The resident that receives the most vote in this election will serve a 2-year term, and the other resident will serve 1 term. And then from then, it will be staggered. So we should not be without a commissioner unless no one runs. So we're looking forward to that. Congratulations, Ms. Decker, and work hard to get your votes. Okay. And the elevator, I was provided with the capital. Well, first of all, let me just say it hasn't been out of service lately, which is very interesting. It makes me wonder if it's being tampered with, but it's been running pretty decently, but we still need attention to it. And so I was provided what they call a capital planner, which, to be quite honest, I'm not very happy about, let me just tell you. It is a planner, and then kind of just throw out a number and say, well, if you can.
Sorry, provided by who?
By Otis, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And thank you for that. It is by Otis, and basically what they said is that, well, you know, the elevator is going to cost about $340,000 to fix. And if you are able to budget for that, then we'll send out somebody to do a survey. And I'm like, absolutely not. That makes no sense to me. You need to send someone out to do a survey so we can get an actual price. So that's where I'm at now. Unfortunately, the person who provided the previous survey, which makes me skeptical of the price because I know what it cost before or what they were offering for 2. And I do know that there's been some inflation, but it still seems like an exorbitant price to me. I want to get a specific number. But the person that does that is ill. That's the only person. Apparently he's in a hospital and he's going to go on surgery, and we won't be able to get to that point until he returns. That's where we are with that. So I really I'm going to be contacting some other executive directors in Nice Fada to see if I can get some insight on being able to proceed or trying to pursue another company if possible, or just get some information, because this is not sitting well with me. I shouldn't be out of service this long. In addition to the fact that there are still materials that are needed, and I understand that there are supply chain issues, and I'm giving them all the benefit of the doubt, but there are a roller that's needed for the noise that you may hear when the elevator goes up and down, as well as that call button issue that still needs to be fixed. We're still waiting for that material. We followed up, and we have not gotten a response yet. So that's where we are with that. And as promised, I told you that I would do some investigation about NextAmp. And it's not complicated, but it seems a little complicated. It actually could be a little confusing. But just let me read this blurb to you about what it does. So NextAmp is basically like a farm solar energy. So the amount of solar energy that would be produced by what we would purchase as a section translates into credits for HHA, electricity's bill, and NextAmp bills HHA for the credits at a set discount after selling the farm's total energy to local utilities like NextGrid and I'm sorry, National Grid. And this ultimately reduces our annual electricity costs. So it still seemed a little foggy to me after I read it, and I'll share it with you, but I have, in matter of fact, I'll pass it around. I have a copy of the total cost and benefits for 2021. And ultimately their savings for us is 10%. So we save the total bill for 2021 was like $21,000. and we saved about 2,100 on that. So there is savings. It just seems strange because we get billed from National Grid. We do have to pay them, but there are credits for the bill on the bill. And we get those credits from Next Amp. And because we get those credits, we get 10% of the savings. And that's how it works.
Sorry, is the credits in the form of actual cash, like they?
No, it's applied to the bill.
Okay.
Right. So there is an actual savings, and to take that further, at NICE FADA, that's the New York State Public Housing Directors Conference, we also spoke with other companies there, and there's a gentleman who's going to do some research for the Housing Authority because there's been new legislation, and we can get up to 20% discount at this point. So what they would do is interview, or they would do a proposal, do a RFQ, see which companies are offering that 20%, and help us in navigating and selecting a different company that we want. The good thing about these programs is they're not, you're not locked in. So for example, if we give a 3-month notice to terminate our services with Next Amp, we can do so. But it would be my recommendation that we go with somebody else to get the higher percentage if we can. And it's like, it's an open competitive field, but it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea, so.
And we're not able to get this 20% percentage from just National Grid.
No,
We're not.
because, so the percentage comes from solar. So we don't have solar panels on our
Right.
property, but we're getting the money from the solar. It's a farm. And so they send that savings or give that energy to, they service and supply that energy to different utility companies, which ultimately gives people who are using their services discounts. Right. It would be great though, you're right, because it would seem less convoluted if we could just go to National Grid and be like, hey, can we get the 20%? But we don't have solar, so we can't get it. And I don't believe that they offer it that way. So it's like, it's a third party, but it's a solar farm, for example. And it's new to me too, but I pass by as I drive down the road and see the different solar farms, and that's how we're getting the savings. All right, and if there's, we can, when I meet with the gentleman, he's more than happy to explain. He's not from Next Amp. He is a consultant that looks at all these companies and his savings and is very well, and it has expertise on these on the legislation, and he will be more than willing to explain it to us as a body if you'd like. I actually can invite him to a call just for information purposes. Okay. But he helped me understand Next Amp's, the program. Yeah, their model, right? Because it does seem it seems like you're paying one bill, then you're paying another bill. Like, it doesn't seem like you're getting the savings, but it is there. And when you look at it over time, it's small, but it ends up adding up. I mean, $2,000 off a bill is not a little bit of money.
No, that's good.
Yeah. Okay. So next is myself, the administrative assistant, Ms. Mayo, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Cousins, and Commissioner Zakos went to Albany on the October 5th and 6th for the NICE FADA conference. And it was a good conference. There were various topics discussed. I'm not going to go into all detail about the specifics, but what the advantage of it is I got to meet other executive directors, other vendors that we may be able to do business with in the future. The executive directors also, of course, will help assist in advising and giving information, because some of them are in programs that we're trying to do. Some of them have already done those programs. So it was good to make that connection. It's a networking conference, but it was good. And I believe, the commissioners also gained some insight from different things about, various topics. Like you said, you don't want to report on it this time, right? But you did you enjoy the conference?
No, I didn't say I didn't want to report. I was
Okay.
just like, I was telling Rebecca and she was like, well, you should report. And I was like, I shouldn't have said anything. Yeah.
Well, you did,
But,
was
yeah.
it beneficial to you?
Oh my goodness, it was so beneficial. It was crazy because this has been a crazy ride at the Housing Authority. And, we've been told plenty of things and said we couldn't do this and do that. And then I got to actually see what commissioners should be doing and what they're able to do. So it was good. It was really good. I'm ready.
That's cool.
All right. Ms. Cousins, Commissioner Cousins, you have anything to add? Or
It was good. It was a good conference. There was a lot of information provided and, the trainings were, a lot of it was about development. So a lot of other housing
Yes.
authorities are in the same position that we're in
Yeah.
with redevelopment, so.
Yeah, I thought the workshops, one workshop in particular, that went over all the HUD programs was the best I've ever heard those programs explained and broken down, which
Yeah.
is really useful to me,
Mhm.
and how they work and how they're to be utilized. But then I think what was most valuable was meeting other commissioners, directors, and staff and hearing their experiences. That was really valuable. So the networking, I agree, was really great. Glad we were able to do it.
Is Brian still on?
Mm,
He left.
Actually, I don't think he is.
I was gonna say, remember how I told you that different housing authority, their council was like speaking and I was like, they have to
Oh.
step up.
Right. Yeah, he's not on. We have to share that with him on a meeting. Yeah. So in addition to that, the week after, I went to the Buffalo field office. Took a trip to Buffalo. It was a long ride. But it was worth it. I met with the director of HUD, the division director, engineers, program analysts, portfolio management specialists, and the RAD subject matter expert. And this was the first for me of many meetings with them. And I was briefed on the expectations of the executive director. And ultimately, HUD advised that they have confidence in my leadership and they're looking forward to building a relationship. So that also was exciting to hear, considering, things that I've heard before. So,
Yeah.
we're building and moving in the right direction. So that was great. And the last thing I have to report is that the RFQ for development partners will be worked on and released as soon as possible. I actually wrote this, since the resolution for HCDPA was passed this evening, I was hoping it would. And the resolution gives HHA the first option to acquire additional property. And that is it for the executive director.
Motion to adjourn?
Wait, can I ask one more
Yes.
question?
Yes.
I appreciate you doing the homework on next stamp.
Yes.
Can I give you one more homework project if you don't know about it?
Yes.
Direct energy business.
Okay. That's on one of the trial balance.
On the quick report.
Quick report. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. Indulging me.
Not a problem. It actually helps me as well. I can't see everything. So thank you very much. And the motion to adjourn was made by Commissioner Smith and is seconded by.
I'll second since I interrupted.
Commissioner Zako. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you.
you. That was not as long as you were saying.
Right.